Dark Lord Sauron stood before the gates of Greenwood, the last stronghold of the Noldor in Middle-earth. Before him stood the mightiest of the woodland realm, King Thranduil, the Lord of the Greenwood and son of King Orifer. The two had met once before, when Sauron offered the elves a chance to join him in dominating Middle-earth. When Thranduil refused, the Dark Lord vowed to destroy the Greenwood and its people. And now he had come to collect on that threat. With a great roar, Sauron raised his hand and unleashed a wave of dark power, striking Thranduil's forces like a tidal wave. Mightiest of the elves fell, their bodies bursting like overripe fruit, their souls withering into the void. Thranduil's son, Legolas, watched in horror as the Dark Lord cut down one of his elven warriors, the life draining from the elf's eyes as he withered away. But though he was young, Legolas was not a fool. He knew that if he were to charge forth, he would only add to the growing pile of corpses at his feet. No. He had to think like an elf, swift, cunning, and fair. As Sauron continued his assault, Legolas raced up the nearest tree, using its bark and leaves as cover. With a keen elven blade, he began picking off the Uruk, high, taking aim at their faces, their necks. Anywhere he could land a killing blow without being seen. The Dark Lord sensed something amiss, turning his baleful gaze to the trees. But before he could do anything about it, Thranduil was upon him. The king of the woodland realm fought with the ferocity of a cornered wolf, his blade singing as it danced around Sauron's heavy blows. For a moment, the Dark Lord was on the defensive, but as Thranduil grew weary, Sauron pressed his attack. With a mighty swing, the Dark Lord sent Thranduil sprawling, and with a cruel smile, he advanced on the beleaguered king. But just as Sauron thought he had the fight won, a voice rang out through the trees, clear, strong, and true. It was Legolas, and he was charging forth, bow in hand, arrow nocked and aimed directly at the Dark Lord's heart. Sauron, for all his power and might, was not a fool. He saw the arrow coming, and he knew that if he didn't do something, it would pierce his heart and end his mortal form. So with a flick of his wrist, he unleashed another blast of dark power, sending Legolas sprawling to the ground. The Dark Lord advanced on the two elves, his black hand raised, ready to deliver the final blow. But as he did, the forest around them began to stir. Roots shot forth from the ground, wrapping around Sauron's legs, pulling him down. Then branches as thick as a giant's arms reached out, grabbing the Dark Lord and flinging him into the air. And as Sauron struggled to free himself from the branches, Thranduil and Legolas got to their feet. Together they unsheathed their blades and charged forth, driving the orcs back. With a mighty roar, Thranduil raised his sword, its tip glowing with elven light, and struck a killing blow at the nearest Uruk. The Dark Lord watched in fury as the Elf King rallied his forces, pushing the orcs back further and further. Then, with a final battle cry, Thranduil and his warriors drove the orcs from the field. The Dark Lord stood on a nearby hill, watching the elves celebrate their victory. His forces were defeated, and though he could raise more Uruk high, it would take time. Time he did not have. The sooner he claimed the One Ring, the sooner he could rule all of Middle-earth. With a final glance at the elves, Sauron turned and vanished into the shadows. And so the Dark Lord was defeated, for now. But Thranduil knew that this was only a temporary victory. Sauron would return, and when he did, the fate of the world would hang in the balance. Until then, the king of the woodland realm stood with his son and his warriors, ready to defend their home and their people against the darkness that threatened to consume them. I am grateful to the Elf Lords for aiding me in my time of need. I am in debt to you for saving my life. You have shown great valor and skill in battle, and I am honored to call you my friends. Together we are strong, and I know that we will prevail in the end. Now go, my friends, and rest. You have earned it. May the trees be your shelter and the earth your solace. Go now.